There comes a point in every organization's journey when growth is no longer the most important question. The real question becomes, what are we ready to build next? Welcome to the special conversation at the Convergence 2026 Next Now. This isn't a conference in the conventional sense. It's a moment of alignment, bringing together leadership, ideas, and real stories from the ground to shape what the next phase of Deep Spatial looks like. And to explore that, I'm joined by two perspectives that matter deeply. Rahul Kushwah, founder and CEO of Deepspatial, someone who has been building this journey from the ground up, and Michael, strategic advisor, bringing a global lens on what it takes to scale organizations meaningfully. Thank you both for being here. So, Rahul, let me start with you. If you had to define Deepspatial's journey, not in terms of growth, but in terms of evolution and what has fundamentally changed from when you started to where you are today, what would you define that as?
So one of the things that I strongly believe in is when you look at what makes a technology great, it is not so much about the features that you built or the latest UI UX layer that you put on top of it. Great technology is defined by the impact that it brings about in this actual world. And when I look at Deep Spatial, day one, when we started, the focus was truly around how do we make an impact? How do we make this world a better place by bringing technology and putting it front and center? And since beginning, we have been guided by that overarching mission. I mean, we have grown crazily. And the best part is we have always been people centric. We have listened to people that work for us, our partners, our clients. And I think together we have embarked on this journey where we are building path breaking products with a global lens that are truly defining what impact is in things that actually matters to humanity, things like education, healthcare, infrastructure, agriculture. And that is what Deep Spatial is all about.
Right. That's very enlightening. So, what made you think this was the right moment to create something like Convergence? Because this feels less like an event and more like a deliberate pause.
So when you look at convergence, I mean, if you look at it, what it deeply means, it's about the ideas converging together.
Right.
It's not about a hierarchy that I'm the CEO, someone is a CFO, someone is a chief business officer. It's not about that. At the end of the day, it's about people that have taken us to where we are at now. And we are truly at an inflection point where the kind of seeds that we planted initially are about to bear fruits of some crazy magnitudes. So Convergence was about listening to every single person that is part of Deep Spatial's ecosystem, having them bring out their ideas, their beliefs, what they feel about what we are building, how we are building, taking that collective wisdom together and redefining, reinvigorating, and accelerating the path that we are on. So at the end of the day, we can truly make this world a better place by bringing the latest developments that we have made in technology.
Right. Incredible. The next question is for you, Michael. So, from where you sit right now, looking at companies globally, what are the signals that tell you a company is entering its next phase of maturity?
I think this is a key question for all companies which are starting a mission. And what I have seen in Converge here in Delhi with Deep Spatial, this is a mission which is integrating everybody. So the integration of all stakeholders, not just the internal stakeholders, the internal teams, to creating platforms like the educational platform or the agricultural platform or the health platform and any other platforms which are coming. You need external partners which understand the narrative, what you are explaining to them, that this is not just a life changing for a certain 10 or 20 families. This is a life changing ability for not just one state, but multiple states in India and abroad, and I'm countries abroad. And I think this opportunity that when you include everybody in such a journey and make this a journey for themselves, this is the key differentiator what Deepspatial and its team and leadership built here with every stakeholder on the ground and abroad.
Right. And what we've seen through the sessions is that some of the most powerful insights are actually coming from within the organization. So, how critical do you think this internal alignment is? Because often from the outside, strategy gets a lot of attention, but alignment seems to be harder, less visible piece, like this sort of internal alignment. So, how important do you think that is?
I think it's super important because people have to understand what they are building. And people on the outside, they have to understand what they are receiving. So I think breaking down the walls is very important between departments, understanding that what the marketing department needs, what kind of framework it needs, what kind of words they are using, but before it has to be built. And I think this is a wonderful thing that back end speaking to front end developers of apps speaking to each other. Marketing comes with the expectations what have to be a result, and this is a wonderful thing because every state here in India is different. Every country is different. So localization is a very big topic, and this localization has to happen on the basis of what is programmed, what is that the solution is adaptable to each region, but also acceptable for the recipients in each region. Because then we will scale, and then we will have an impact because the society is picking it up.
Right. So let's next talk about what you're actually building here. So today, Deepspatial is working across platforms like edskCalibre, edskNext, and edskExpress. So Rahul, what connects all of these at a fundamental level?
I'm glad you're asking that question because when you look at what we are doing, we are truly connecting the entire education system. What we have developed is absolutely a centralized brain that can be used for governance, that can be used by educators, that can be used by students, that can be used by trainees, basically everyone that is part of that ecosystem to drive ROI that matters to them. It could be something as access to education. It could be something as important as literacy rates. It could be something around where do we want to open the next school, or how do we optimize the budgets for this year. So think of it as more of a virtual education brain, where we are covering every aspect of it. So no matter where you lie on the education front, you can use it to drive data-driven decisions, which has an impact not just today, but down the road with future generations. And of course, in parallel, as these insights are given out, and as data feeds are coming in real time, system is adapting. So it's almost like you have a virtual brain that is working with you to get you to the point where you want to be, no matter if, as I said, if you're an educator, if you're a student, you're a bureaucrat.
Right. Also, because a lot of these don't feel like standalone products, they feel like a part of a larger system. So there's that resonance between them, right? So is this an India first build, or are you consciously designing this for global relevance funding from day one? Like, what was your idea behind that?
So again, this is a question we do get all the time, but one of the greatest aspects of India is the heterogeneity you see across the country. And if we can cover that heterogeneity at times with less availability to data and make an impact, then what it implies is we are ready to take on the whole world. When you look at education by itself, I mean, the components I was telling you about, these are universal in nature. Education system in the West has its own challenges. Budgets are shrinking. There is no more money to spend, and it's getting back to the same metrics. How can we improve education? Well, the way how you do it is through using our platform. As I said, our platform has the ability and has made an impact in certain jurisdictions in India where data availability was a massive concern. So if we can do it here, what it means is we can do it in Iceland, we can do it in Toronto, we can do it in Manila, basically in every corner of the world.
Right. So as you step into the next phase, where do you see the biggest opportunity for deep spatial over maybe the next few years?
So again, the biggest opportunity is really going to be in these key sectors. You look at what's happening across the world, uh, it's all about empowering individuals, empowering societies. And how do you do that? The central themes that come into play are, well, food security, education, and healthcare. And these are the three areas where we have developed these virtual brains that can drive those data driven decisions and significantly improve the ROI and lead to that change that has a benefit on the economic front while at the same time empowering the whole community.
Right. So, Michael, from a global perspective, what makes companies in the space stand out? Like, what are the signals that move a company from interesting to something that you would invest in?
I think the validity of the data, the transparency of how the company is moving on, and of course the people who lead the team and who build the team, and the way how they do it. And I just want to give you an example. What I think is super important is that you can use a lot of data which you can buy from the markets, geodata and data from all kind of different institutions. And I think we made that journey here in Deepspatial as well, and we realized we cannot rely on these data. We need to figure out what is because they didn't match with the reality. What we're facing here in India, in the different countries, and the different states, and I think that was this kind of experience in using, I would call it dummy data, which cannot be used in reality, made us to creating a platform that is now very, very powerful. And it was not a platform which you can create overnight. It's a platform which creates a threshold where other companies cannot easily replicate. And this is a USP what we have here now. We have built it in-house. It's our data. We will not share this data through and sell this data out. We will keep this data and building continuously and not optimizing, but updating this data on a continuous basis. And I think this experience and the leadership which was willing to go through these hard times using manual work to make data to put data in a correct format and creating the status quo standard what we have achieved now is a very powerful asset what we will now build up, not just in India, but globally.
Right. So, staying with you for a little while longer, what excites you about companies like Deepspatial? And equally, what are the common mistakes you see founders making when they start scaling their companies?
First of all, a lot of people scaling, which are founders and startup managers, they are scaling too fast. So they are scaling. They want to go in multiple verticals. They do not understand that the speed sometimes kills the quality, and the quality at the end they cannot sell because it's too low quality and they cannot move it. Otherwise, they are they think scaling is everything. Scaling is important, but first the database have to be the right one. So I think on that front we did everything all right here in Deepspatial. And the second point is that Deepspatial is not relying on one single person. Deepspatial is a team. It's a team of leadership, but it's also a team without hierarchy. And this has so many advantages that, and we see when you're empowering the people and when you supporting the talent that they can doing and that they can switching and learning within the organization, and even bring that at one point of time, bring that knowledge, teaching other teams abroad. I mean, that's real scalability. And I think this is really, again, the differentiator from Deepspatial to any other data or AI one.
Right. So the next question is to Rahul. So how do you ensure that as you scale, you don't lose the intent that got you here? And what are you consciously building today to prepare for that next level?
So again, if we truly talk from a larger standpoint, something that we hear all the time is humanity is doomed. But I don't think it's doomed as long as there are companies like Deepspatial. Because when you look at real growth, it only happens when you stay true to the reasons as to why you started. From day one, we have stayed true to why we started. It's about how can we make this world a better place? How can we make this world such that decades from now, people can look back and say, yes, the world is a better place. Technology played a role, and Deepspatial was a part of it, perhaps is a part of it. And this is something, a sentiment, which is perhaps shared by every single team member within the organization. I mean, of course, the leadership team, our advisors, our board, and we just make sure that whoever joins this ecosystem, I mean, of course, they need to have the talent, but at the same time, we screen for that mindset as well. Because once you bring in an individual that does not share the same mindset, they can have all the skill sets you want, that tends to have a negative impact. And we are extremely mindful of it. And we make sure that people that are working with us, they do not hesitate to share their ideas, because at the end of the day, it's the collective wisdom of the organization that will propel us forward.
Then, so let me close this with a forward-looking lens. If we were to have this conversation again in, let's say, 5 years from now, what would your success look like? How would you like to ideally view it?
Basically, what we would be looking back and saying that, look, we have empowered perhaps billions of people all over the world. We have improved literacy rates. We have improved the access to food. We have been able to reduce the prevalence of a lot of diseases that impacts mothers, that impacts newborns. And that is something we are going to be doing, which the world is going to be seeing. And we will be sitting here having the same conversation, being extremely proud of what we have accomplished.
And what's one belief that each of you hold about the future very strongly and that you think people should be paying more attention to?
I would say the same thing. Humanity is not doomed. Deepspatial is here.
I would say, it's super important to stay positive. The world is very beautiful, and we will make this world a better world with Deepspatial. And we are inclusive, and we are not exclusive. We are inclusive, and we will make this movement. We may make this to a global movement that is changing the world. And for that, I'm already today very proud of that.
Amazing. So if there's one thing that stands out from this conversation, it's this. The future isn't something organizations just arrive at. It's something they align to build. And moments like these, where people, purpose, and possibility all come together, often define everything that follows. Thank you, Rahul. Thank you, Michael. And thank you for joining us for this special conversation at the Convergence 2026 Next Now. This is Next, and it's being built now. Thank you.
Thank you very much.